It's funny, the things you remember. The smell of rain on asphalt. The way your breath fogs the glass when you're too afraid to move. That night, the world shrank to the size of a gun barrel. I'd played heroes, saved the girl, dodged bullets on screen. But life doesn't give you stunt doubles. No second takes. Just a badge, a trigger, and the silence that comes after. I thought of my father. How he walked out when I was 9. Left his keys on the table like a confession. For years, I told myself abandonment was the worst pain a person could feel. But that night, I'd have traded every scar he gave me for one answer. Why? 71 seconds. That's how long he held the gun on me. Long enough to replay every mistake. Every "I love you" I never said. Every friend I lost to drugs, to fame, to the quiet rot of Hollywood. River's face flashed in my mind, his laugh, that last party where he begged me to stay. I didn't. Guilt is a ghost that outlives the dead. But then, headlights. A rookie cop, barely older than me, stepping into the storm. "Isn't that the guy from Point Break?" he said. Funny, right? Saved by a movie quote. But that's the thing about masks, they hide the broken parts. Even from ourselves. The world turned me into a symbol. Justice for Keanu, they screamed. But justice doesn't heal. Doesn't erase the way your hands shake when a car slows behind you. I became a headline, a hashtag, never a human. They didn't see the letters. The ones I wrote at 3 a.m. to a woman I'd never met. Emma. A nurse. A stranger who said my movies made her feel less alone. I'd stare at her words, "You don't have to be strong all the time," and wonder, how do you tell someone you've forgotten how to be anything else? Emma Walters. 32. Pediatric nurse. Lover of old bookstores and lemon tea. The accident stole her legs, her job, her fiancé. But not her voice. She wrote to me about the nights she'd lie awake, tracing the phantom pain where her bones used to be. The worst part isn't the loss, she said. It's the people who treat you like glass afterward. Her letters were maps of a life I recognized. The masks. The performances. "We're both survivors," she wrote. But surviving isn't living. I read those words until the paper frayed. I stood there for 10 minutes. 10 minutes of rehearsing lines, then hating myself for it. What do you say to someone who sees through your armor? "Hi, I'm the guy who pretended to save the world while you actually did?" She smiled first. Not the polite kind. The real one, the one that reaches the eyes. "You're taller in person," she said. We both knew she was lying. We talked for hours. About her patients. My sister Kim's leukemia. The way grief carves tunnels in your chest. "You don't fill them," she said. "You plant gardens inside." Kim made me promise. "Don't let my death be your next tragedy." But how? She was my anchor. The one who reminded me where I came from when fame tried to rewrite my DNA. I'd sit by her bed, counting breaths like they were lifelines. Emma would wheel in coffee, her hands steadier than mine. "You're allowed to fall apart," she'd say. But I couldn't. Not yet. The night Kim slipped away, Emma held me as I screamed into the void. No words. Just her heartbeat against my ear, a reminder that I wasn't alone. For the first time, I believed it. She wanted to feel the ocean one last time. Not as a patient. Not as a survivor. Just Emma. I carried her past the tide line, her arms wide like wings. "I'm flying, Keanu," she shouted. And she was. For those seconds, the weight of everything, the guns, the grief, the fucking MS, didn't exist. Just salt, sun, and the sound of her laugh. I'd have given anything to freeze that moment. She made me promise. Don't let my death be a period. Make it a comma. I didn't understand then. Now I do. Death isn't an ending, it's a hinge. A door you walk through, carrying their voice in your bones. The last thing she said? Plant a garden for us. Something that outlives the pain. I held her until her breath faded. Until the room felt like a cathedral. And when the nurses came, I whispered, "She's not gone. She's just ahead." People ask if I'm lonely. They don't see her. In the rustle of leaves. The first bloom of spring. Even in the quiet. She was right, the gardens outlive everything. I tend them now, knees aching, hands stained with soil. And when the wind blows just right, I hear her. Keep living, Keanu. Keep growing. So I do. Not for the cameras. Not for the legacy. For us.